Getting back to one of our top stories today, General Motors today opening a battery lab in Warren, Michigan, aimed at speeding the development of electric cars. The bankrupt automaker expects to have 14 hybrids in production in 2012. All this coming exactly 1 week after General Motors filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Joining us now is our Greg Miles. He covers the auto industry for Bloomberg News, and from Warren, Michigan, the CEO of General Motors, Fritz Henderson. Greg?
That's right. Thanks, Mark. That's right. We're with Fritz Henderson, the CEO of General Motors. Fritz, welcome.
Hi, Greg. Good morning.
Let's talk about this. Mitsubishi announcing today that they're going to commercialize this year an electric-powered vehicle with a 100-mile range. How great is the urgency at General Motors to get your Volt onto the market as quickly as possible?
Our timing of our Volt has been and continues to be launched by the end of next year, and so there's a very high sense of urgency about it. But interestingly, Greg, we have 2 other teams working on Gen 2 and even Gen 3 for the Volt. So it's not only about launching this car, but getting the benefits of the knowledge that from the development activities in this car to make sure that we're working on Gen 2 and Gen 3 at the exact same time.
Okay, while you're obviously opening this plant in this facility in Warren, Michigan, as you know, the Supreme Court is going to decide by 4 p.m. today on whether to hear arguments against Chrysler's fast-track bankruptcy, which is very similar to yours. If the Supreme Court delays or shoots down that fast-track bankruptcy, does General Motors have a plan B for your fast-track plan?
Well, our facts are actually in some cases different than Chrysler's. I'm not going to comment on Chrysler, but our facts are somewhat different from Chrysler's. And so what we're doing is we're executing our plan. We launched last week. First-day motions were heard and approved, and we're moving very fast. We have a sale hearing scheduled on June 30th. And activities are basically underway to drive that. But at the same time, one of the benefits of today is to talk about technologies, products, and customers to remind us that the true reinvention of General Motors is not simply about addressing the problems of our past. It's about making sure that we change in the future and be really focused around products, customers, and technology. And it's just exciting to be here today.
That's a good point. I know you want to emphasize to this Warren plan, obviously, that this is about the new General Motors and about the future. But you can't get to that future unless you can quickly reorganize in Chapter 11, right? That's crucial to get through the present to get to that future.
Yeah, that's true. But I make a point every time, and I'll make it to you here today. If you look at the salaried workforce at General Motors, about half of the salaried workforce at General Motors are people who work in the future. Now, those people are important to future customers, future products, future revenues, future financial performance. But there are people who work in the future because we need to not only we need to imagine our future, we need to make it real, and we need to have the same sense of urgency to pull those activities forward to make sure we're basically launching the very finest General Motors cars and trucks and supported by strong technology so we can win with customers in the future. It's not all about just simply solving the problems of the past.
That's right. How about this? What percentage of your cars do you expect to be partially or completely electric powered, say, within 5 years?
Interestingly, within 5 years, Greg, we would still say that the preponderance of our vehicles would be conventional internal combustion engines, but much more efficient internal combustion engines. So if you look at the portfolio of things we need to do, first and foremost, we need to improve the fuel efficiency of our cars and trucks today using technologies that can apply in those vehicles, while at the same time launching vehicles like the Chevrolet Volt, hybrids, and alternative propulsion.
One thing I want to get to some issues that have come up in the news in the past few days, if you'll bear with me, okay, is that news reports do say that Congressman Barney Frank did persuade you to delay the closure of the Norton, Massachusetts facility by several months. Is that correct?
Well, one of the things that we've done is we've been looking at all of our facility plans, including that particular facility. We made some modifications in 3 different after-sales warehouse plans, very small changes, very minor changes. And at the same time, we're actually looking at all of our plants as well to make sure we're optimizing our overall game plan. But in terms of the mainstream plan to make General Motors competitive, successful, get our break-even point down, and frankly, get our costs in order, nothing's changed in that regard.
I mean, but has the closure of this particular plant been delayed till June? I think till June from December.
Well, as I said, we actually tweaked the timing of, it's actually not a plant, it's an after-sales warehouse. It has about 83 people that work in that facility. Our after-sales warehouses generally provide parts service. In this case, the Boston Center provide parts for customers in New England. It's about basically sequencing how we actually supply markets, including Boston. And we felt that not just in their case, but actually the other two facilities, one was in Jacksonville, one was in Columbus, we felt the changes were in order, minor changes to try to make sure that we were as focused as possible in the market.
I want to clarify another issue. You know, the dealers, I mean, the congressmen have just been moving very aggressively to try to curtail the number of dealers you're going to close. Is there a chance that you might not end up closing 2,600 dealers or 42%? Can you get by with less closures if you have to?
A couple things. First, we have tried as much as possible to handle this in an intelligent, thoughtful way. For those dealers that we feel shouldn't be with us in the future, we've offered them wind-down agreements. We're contacting them one-on-one. We have an appeal process, basically, where we're reconsidering. We have changed some decisions, and so we do make mistakes. We admit we make mistakes, and so we want to have a process that allows dealers to submit additional information that we might take into consideron in reconsidering their position.
So you could make some those. Yeah. You could make adjustments based on those new filings by the dealer. You may decide not to shut one and maybe shut another.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've already reversed some decisions because we need to be thoughtful about this. At the same time, by the way, we need to make sure that the performance of our future dealer body increases substantially.
Okay, Fritz, we got to go. I want to thank you very much for your time. Hope we can come back and talk more about the largest battery testing facility in the U.S. Fritz, thank you.
Thanks very much.
There you have it, Fritz Henderson, the CEO of General Motors, at the opening of the company's new battery testing facility. Back to you, Mark.
Greg, Mr. Henderson, thank you both very much.